Welcome to the story. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and support me. The horizon drifted in silence, its sleek, silver hull a sharp contrast against the endless black. The vessel, Earth's most advanced interstellar research ship, had been constructed for one purpose: to reach the unknown. For years, mankind had gazed at black holes as the ultimate enigma, monsters of the universe capable of swallowing everything, even light. Today, however, they were on the verge of uncovering their deepest secrets. Dr. Evelyn Carter stood at the observation window, watching as the swirling darkness of the black hole consumed the stars behind it. Its pull was mesmerizing, almost hypnotic, but it was not fear that held her gaze, it was curiosity. "We're close," she whispered to herself, her breath fogging the glass for a moment before dissipating into the cold of the ship's interior. Too close. Behind her, the hum of computers and the soft murmur of the crew filled the control deck. The horizon was fully automated, but human eyes were still necessary to interpret the data they were about to collect. "Dr. Carter," Captain Marcus Adler's voice broke the quiet. He was pragmatic, a no-nonsense man who had seen his fair share of risks, but this mission unnerved even him. "We're detecting energy fluctuations near the event horizon. We're almost at the point of no return." Evelyn turned, her hazel eyes narrowing. "Pull back 10 degrees. We don't need to risk crossing the threshold yet." Marcus nodded. "You heard her," he barked at the helmsman, who immediately adjusted the ship's trajectory, allowing them to skirt the edge of the black hole's gravitational pull without being consumed by it. As they adjusted course, the ship's instruments started lighting up, data streams flooding the monitors. At first, it seemed routine, the usual readings one would expect near a black hole, but then something changed. A spike in energy levels, an anomaly that shouldn't exist. "Dr. Carter, look at this," said Lieutenant Alex Zhao, the ship's communications and alien technology expert. His sharp, analytical mind had been the key to deciphering many interstellar signals. "I'm picking up something. It's almost like a distress call." Evelyn's heart quickened. A signal this close to a black hole? No life could exist here, could it? "Let me see," she said, moving to his station. Her fingers danced across the control panel, isolating the signal, amplifying it. What she heard chilled her. It was unmistakably intelligent, though the language was alien, frantic, garbled, but unmistakable. "Is that an alien transmission?" Captain Adler asked, leaning over Zhao's shoulder. Zhao nodded. "It seems to be a repeating message. Something about collapse and end. It's hard to get an exact translation without more context." Evelyn stared at the waveforms on the screen, feeling a deep, unsettling pit in her stomach. "This isn't a distress call," she muttered, half to herself. "It's a warning." Before anyone could respond, the lights flickered. The ship shuddered, as if an invisible force had gripped it for just a moment. "Status report." Adler shouted. The ship's AI responded in its calm, mechanical voice. "Minor gravitational disturbance detected. All systems operational." But Evelyn wasn't convinced. She could feel something was wrong. The transmission they had intercepted wasn't just a random signal, it was something far more sinister. "We need to pull back further," she said, her voice sharp. "Get us out of this zone. Now." Captain Adler gave the order, but as the ship began to adjust its trajectory, the black hole pulsed. The energy field around it expanded, surging toward them. The ship lurched violently. "Brace for impact." Adler yelled as the crew strapped themselves into their seats. Evelyn gripped the edge of a console, her knuckles white as the ship shuddered under the immense gravitational forces. The Horizon's engines roared, straining against the sudden pull, but it wasn't enough. They were being dragged toward the black hole. "We're not going to make it," the helmsman shouted, panic edging his voice. Evelyn's mind raced. This wasn't just gravitational pull, this was a trap. The black hole wasn't natural, it had been engineered. She knew it with a sickening certainty. "Activate the quantum stabilizers," she ordered. "We need to create a space-time buffer." Zhao worked furiously, his fingers flying over the controls. "Stabilizers engaged," he confirmed. The ship's engines whined as they fought to stabilize against the pull. For a brief moment, the gravitational surge seemed to ease, but it wasn't over. The alien transmission, now louder, seemed to pulse in time with the black hole. It was as if the two were linked. "We need to figure out what that signal is," Evelyn said, her voice tight. "It's controlling the black hole." Zhao nodded. "I'm on it." Evelyn turned to Adler. "We've been lured here, Captain. This was no accident. That transmission is a lure, bait for our curiosity." Adler's face darkened. What kind of civilization would set a trap like this? "A dying one," Evelyn replied grimly. "One desperate enough to destroy anyone who gets close to their secrets." The lights flickered again, and the ship lurched forward. Time was running out. "We need to decode that signal now," Evelyn said, turning back to Zhao. "It's the only way we're getting out of here." Zhao worked tirelessly, filtering through the layers of distortion in the alien message. Finally, his eyes widened. "I've got it. The signal, it's a countdown. They're using the black hole to collapse spacetime around us. If we don't reverse it, we'll be crushed." Evelyn's mind raced. Reversing a black hole's gravitational collapse? It was impossible. But they had no other choice. "How long do we have?" Adler asked, his voice tight. "Minutes," Zhao replied grimly. Evelyn's heart pounded. "Get me the quantum field equation for the black hole's event horizon. We need to invert the energy flow." Zhao pulled up the data on his screen. "You're going to try to tap into the black hole's energy?" Evelyn nodded. "We have to. If we can reverse the energy structure, we might not only save ourselves but stop the collapse." The idea was insane. No one had ever successfully manipulated a black hole's energy structure. But Evelyn was no ordinary scientist. "Give me access to the quantum drives," she said, her fingers moving over the console as she began running calculations. "If I can create a spacetime ripple at the event horizon, we might be able to neutralize the collapse." The ship's engines groaned as the black hole's pull intensified. Time was running out. "Captain," she said, her voice steady, "we're going to have to ride the edge of the event horizon. It's our only chance." Adler didn't hesitate. "Do it." As the ship tilted dangerously close to the event horizon, Evelyn initiated the quantum ripple. The air around them seemed to hum with energy, the fabric of spacetime bending under the immense forces they were manipulating. For a moment, everything went still. Then the black hole pulsed again, this time in reverse. The energy around it began to flow outward, expanding instead of collapsing. "It's working!" Zhao shouted, but it wasn't over. The alien signal, still pulsing, fought against the reversal. Evelyn gritted her teeth. "Increase the power output. We need to overwhelm the signal." The ship's quantum drives whined under the strain as they poured more energy into the ripple. The black hole's pull weakened, the countdown slowing. "Almost there," Zhao said, his voice tight with concentration. With one final surge of energy, the black hole collapsed inward, but instead of pulling them in, it released a wave of energy that shot outward, dispersing into the galaxy. The ship steadied, the gravitational pull gone. "We did it," Evelyn breathed, collapsing into her chair. "We stopped the collapse." But the victory was bittersweet. The alien civilization that had set the trap was gone, its desperation to survive at any cost having led it to its own destruction. As the ship drifted away from the black hole, Evelyn stared at the now quiet void. They had averted disaster, but at what cost? "We've become the masters of this energy," she said softly, "but we've also inherited the responsibility that comes with it." Adler nodded. "And the galaxy is watching." Evelyn closed her eyes. The power they now controlled was immense, but so were the consequences. The black hole had been a trap, but it had also been a gift, a dangerous, deadly gift. As the horizon began its journey back to Earth, Evelyn knew that humanity's place in the galaxy had changed forever. They were no longer just explorers. They were now the guardians of an energy source that could reshape the universe itself. Evelyn Carter sat in the ship's dimly lit control room, staring at the holographic map of their trajectory home. The quiet hum of the engines provided little comfort. They had escaped the black hole's trap, but the weight of their discovery hung heavy on her shoulders. They were returning with more than just data. They were returning with a power that could change the balance of the entire galaxy. Captain Adler's footsteps echoed through the room as he approached her. "You've been sitting there for hours," he said, his voice soft but firm. "You should get some rest." Evelyn shook her head, her gaze never leaving the map. "I can't shake the feeling that we've opened Pandora's box, Marcus. We've done something no one has ever done before. And now, we have to live with the consequences." Adler sighed, rubbing the back of his neck. "I know. But we didn't ask for this. We didn't ask to be caught in a trap. We did what we had to do." Evelyn turned to him, her eyes tired but sharp. "That's just it, Marcus. We didn't just escape. We reversed the black hole's energy. We unlocked a force that no one, not even those aliens, could fully understand." He met her gaze, his expression hardening. "And we're the ones holding it now. We need to be careful, Evelyn. If the wrong people find out what we've done, they will," she interrupted. "They always do." Silence settled between them. The galaxy was vast, and word would travel fast. Their discovery was bound to attract attention, not just from Earth, but from every advanced civilization out there. And not all of them would be friendly. "I've been thinking about that alien civilization," Evelyn said after a long pause. "They were desperate, yes, but they were also brilliant. They saw black holes as tools, things to manipulate and weaponize. But they were so focused on survival that they lost sight of everything else." Adler nodded. "They wanted to survive at any cost. And we just showed the galaxy that humanity is capable of far more than anyone thought," Evelyn continued. "We've not only survived, we've mastered the very thing they failed to control. That's going to make us a target." Zhao's voice crackled over the intercom, breaking the tension. "Dr. Carter, Captain, I think you should both come to the comms room. We're picking up something." Evelyn and Adler exchanged a look before hurrying down the narrow corridor to the communications hub. When they entered, Zhao was already at his station, his eyes scanning the data streaming across his monitors. "What is it?" Adler asked, his voice clipped with urgency. Zhao didn't look up. "We're receiving a signal. It's faint, but it's definitely not from Earth. I've been trying to clean it up, but there's a lot of interference. It's coming from deep space, further than we've ever picked up a signal before." Evelyn leaned over his shoulder, her eyes narrowing as she studied the waveforms. "Is it another distress call?" Zhao shook his head. "No, this is something else. It's more structured. Almost like a conversation." "Can you translate it?" Adler asked. "I'm working on it. The language is unlike anything we've encountered, but there are patterns I'm starting to recognize." Evelyn frowned. "Do you think it's related to the black hole?" Zhao hesitated, then nodded. "It's possible. The timing is too coincidental. Whatever this is, it's coming from an advanced civilization, and they're definitely aware of us." Adler crossed his arms, his brow furrowed in thought. "We just barely escaped one alien trap. I don't like the idea of walking into another." "We don't have much choice," Evelyn said quietly. "If they know what we've done, they might already be on their way." Zhao's fingers flew over the controls, and the audio of the alien transmission began to play through the speakers. The sound was distorted, a series of strange, melodic tones layered with deep, resonant pulses. It wasn't music, but it had a rhythm that was oddly calming. "It's almost beautiful," Zhao muttered, his focus never leaving the screen. "But there's more to it. I just need time to break it down." "Keep working on it," Adler ordered. "We need to know what we're dealing with." Evelyn straightened, her mind racing. The alien trap had been set near a black hole, and now they were receiving a signal from even deeper space. The implications were staggering. There could be entire networks of civilizations out there, manipulating black holes like chess pieces on a galactic board. But why had they chosen now to make contact? And more importantly, what did they want? "We should prepare for the possibility of an encounter," Evelyn said. "If they're advanced enough to communicate across this distance, they're advanced enough to reach us." Adler nodded grimly. "Agreed. I'll alert the crew." As Adler left the room, Evelyn stayed behind, her eyes on the endless data streaming across the monitors. Zhao was right, the signal was beautiful in its complexity, but there was something unnerving about it as well. It felt deliberate, calculated. Zhao cleared his throat. "I've isolated part of the transmission. It's not a complete translation, but I think I've got the gist." Evelyn moved closer, her heart pounding. "What does it say?" Zhao hesitated, his face pale. "It's a message for us. It says, 'We are watching. We are waiting.'" A chill ran down Evelyn's spine. "That's it? No explanation?" Zhao shook his head. "No explanation. Just that." Evelyn stared at the waveform on the screen, her mind racing. "We've changed something," she whispered. "Whatever we did with that black hole, it sent ripples across the galaxy. And now someone, something, has noticed." Zhao finished for her. The ship's intercom crackled to life again. "Captain to the bridge. We've got incoming." Evelyn and Zhao exchanged a glance before rushing toward the bridge. When they arrived, Adler was already standing in front of the main viewport, staring at the holographic display. "What is it?" Evelyn asked breathlessly. Adler didn't look away from the display. "We've got 3 ships heading straight for us. They're not broadcasting any identification, but they're big, much bigger than anything we've seen before." Evelyn's stomach tightened. "Can we make contact?" "We've tried," Adler replied. No response. Zhao joined them at the display, his face tense. If they're not responding, they either don't want to talk, or they're preparing to attack. Adler's jaw tightened. We need to be ready for anything. The ships drew closer, their sleek, angular designs unlike anything human eyes had ever seen. They moved with eerie precision, their engines silent in the vacuum of space. Evelyn's heart raced as they closed the distance. They're scanning us, Zhao reported. Massive energy signatures. If they're hostile, we're outgunned. Evelyn's mind raced. This was it, the moment they had feared. Their discovery had made them a target, and now they were about to face the consequences, but then, as the alien ships reached striking distance, they stopped. The air on the bridge was thick with tension as everyone waited, breath held, for what would happen next. A new transmission crackled through the comms. This time, it was clear. A deep, resonant voice echoed through the ship, speaking in perfect English. "We are the Watchers," the voice intoned. "You have touched what was not meant to be touched. Now, you must face the judgment of the stars." Evelyn's breath caught in her throat. Judgment? The voice paused, as if considering the word. "You have manipulated forces beyond your understanding. But you have also demonstrated a capacity for creation. You stand on the precipice. Will you fall, or will you rise?" Adler exchanged a glance with Evelyn. "What do you want from us?" he asked, his voice steady but strained. The voice was silent for a long moment. "We watch. We wait. The choice is yours." And then, just as suddenly as they had appeared, the alien ships vanished, disappearing into the vastness of space as if they had never been there. The bridge fell into stunned silence. "What just happened?" Zhao asked, his voice barely above a whisper. Evelyn stared at the empty space where the ships had been, her mind reeling. "They're testing us," she murmured. "They want to see what we'll do next." Adler exhaled slowly. "We've been given a second chance. But we can't afford to make any mistakes." Evelyn nodded, her thoughts already racing ahead. The Watchers had made it clear, they were watching. Humanity's next move would determine its fate. The galaxy was a far more dangerous place than they had ever imagined, and the power they now held was both a gift and a curse. As the Horizon resumed its journey back to Earth, Evelyn knew one thing for certain: their discovery had set something in motion, and whatever came next, they would need to be ready because the stars were watching, and their judgment would be swift.